Western mainstream media has caught a bug that's giving them some stomach churn. It's called the tech bro. Look at some of the headlines and the graphics. It gives you an idea of the kind of strong sentiment, mostly negative, the tech bro is eliciting. Tech geek or nerd, white, male, narcissist, chauvinist, macho and misogynist. Typically owns a disruptive internet business in the Bay Area of California in the United States and is by default a billionaire. That's the image. Then why should it attract that strong negative sentiment? Because in the past decade, the tech bros have come into their own. In good measure, they collectively have their fingers on the future of human civilization. And then there's a more immediate concern. A bunch of them, led by Elon Musk, now controls the government of the United States of America. What's on the wish list? The tech bros want an anti-woke, low-on-regulation government, which they believe Trump would provide. That's why they all put their money where their mouth is. Venture capitalists like Mark Andreessen, Joe Lonsdale, Peter Thiel, all back Trump. David Sachs, PayPal founder, along with Thiel and Musk, startup investor and podcaster also, was there at Mar-a-Lago along with Musk on election results night. In his longish post, he explained Trump victory as one based on connecting with people and addressing the issues in their daily lives, versus Harris' campaign that just premised on name-calling and celebrity endorsements from inside the legacy media echo chamber. Palmer Luckey, founder of Anduril and Oculus, celebrated the victory by tweeting a screenshot from the animated Pokemon TV show. Mark Andreessen, another Menlo Park techpreneur, tweeted on November 6th that it was time to build the United States. They see themselves as builders of a new American nation. They could be both pushing their libertarian ideals and taking Republican Party away from its traditional conservatism. Delian Asperhoff, for example, another venture capitalist, rejoiced that finally under Trump, the government would have some of the most effective people on the planet at its beck and call. He describes himself as better with computers than people. Like Musk was born South African, Asperhoff is Bulgarian. But like Musk, hates illegal migration and backs Trump on the issue. Joe Lonsdale, founder of Palantir and global tech and data company Adapar, and a couple of other tech companies, told a podcast ahead of elections, if Trump wins, some of my smartest tech friends might be running the government. He counts J.D. Vance as his friend and hosted the vice president-elect at his home for a private campaign dinner with more tech bros. Lonsdale also chairs a public policy group that says it works to prevent government bureaucrats from coming in the way of the American dream. What brings them together is investing and tech and hate for too much of government. Many of them have been a bunch for a decade or more. Peter Thiel and Musk, for example, go back to PayPal days at the turn of the century. The political influence machine that tech billionaires have built over the last few years in the United States is formidable in terms of its size and ambition. Now they would be using this financial and organizational muscle to build policies that suit their objectives and further their cause. And there's something more in common. There's certain testosterone-pumping masculinity that goes with being a tech bro. Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, who was arrested a couple of months back in Paris for not cooperating with European security agencies on content moderation, announced this summer that he had fathered over 100 children through his sperm donation. Children conceived off his seed are spread through 12 countries, and he has declared plans to open source his DNA so that his biological children could find one another more easily. The more famous example, of course, is Musk, who has fathered at least 12 children with 3 women. It's a heady mix of narcissism, messiah complex, and dreams of immortality in these modern-day Genghis Khans. Let's now focus for a bit on the bro of bros, Musk. You would remember that frame of him jiving on stage with Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally ahead of the November 5 US elections. The Tesla chief is singularly being credited with the turnaround of the Trump campaign fortunes. The prospects were not looking great even till late summer. Then Musk came on the horizon, openly endorsed Trump, committed millions of dollars, at one stage gifting $1 million a day as a lottery to further the Republican cause. And when it came to brass tacks, parked himself in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania for a fortnight to swing it in favor of Trump. But for Musk buying Twitter and turning it into a conservative megaphone X, and then doubling down on the campaign personally, it is likely that we might have had a different outcome of the US presidential elections. Remember, Trump had to leave Twitter's left liberal avatar and launch his own platform, Truth Social, with little success. For all this effort, Musk has been handed over the thankless job, or seemingly thankless job, of cutting down the size of the US government. Obviously, there would be a pushback from the bureaucracy. Not that Musk is going to hate it. In hindsight, it is likely that he made all the effort only for this objective, to get the bureaucracy out of his way, to not let regulation impede his ambition. Musk is also the boss of SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company, all at the cutting edge of technology, breaking not just new frontiers of science, but of human endeavor. SpaceX launches 100% of NASA's missions these days. Neuralink is pushing the limits of mental and physical capabilities of humans by turning them into part robots with embedded computer chips. The Boring Company is focused on the future of transportation. Taken together with social media platform X, it's a universe that parallelly competes with governments. So lesser the regulation, shorter the rules, easier for the tech bros to navigate faster towards their goals. Just so that you don't think it's about Trump. Back in 2022, Pentagon faced a scary situation. In one of the offensives, as the Ukrainian battalions entered the area of the Donetsk republics, a territory contested and occupied by Russia, their Musk-owned Starlink communication systems collapsed. Having provided Ukraine with his Starlink connectivity, Musk got restless as unpaid bills mounted. The Ukrainian forces were heavily dependent on his satellite infrastructure, which he enthusiastically provided at the beginning of the war. Few months into the war, and Ukrainians had no money to pay. Musk sent across a message by just pressing the switch off button. Panic set in. Top levels of the US government had to intervene. Ideally, a phone call from a junior bureaucrat dealing with the vendors would have sufficed. But realizing that Musk could make or break the Ukraine war efforts, Pentagon deployed a very senior official who was asked to be deferential to the mercurial billionaire on call, while requesting his continued support till the time that the US government arranged for some of the pending dues to be paid. This was also the time Musk would boast of being a phone call away from Putin and would openly bat for a peace plan that had most of the Kremlin talking points incorporated. It is apocryphal. To impose royal authority over the parliament, the 17th century king of France, Louis XIV, allegedly told the parliamentarians, "I am the state." Pretty close to that. Musk was asked in a podcast a couple of years ago whether he has more influence than the American government. He replied immediately, in some ways, yes. Another tech bro at loggerheads with Musk, Sam Altman, himself no stranger to tech bro traits of narcissism and obsession with future control, once said about his former boss, "Musk desperately wants to save the world, but only if he can be the one to save it." Those who have swung from Democrats to Republicans and from Obama to Trump include the big fish. Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg went neutral during the campaign, writing a letter to the Congress that he was forced to help Biden personally by shadow banning news of his son's kickbacks in Ukraine. That was like currying favors with Trump. This Wednesday, Zuckerberg had a dinner with the president-elect at Mar-a-Lago. For the first time since 1988, the Washington Post did not endorse a candidate at the behest of owner Jeff Bezos. The decision itself became a Trump endorsement, giving tailwinds to a key Trump campaign issue of media bias. In a way, the relationship of the corporate money bags with politics is not new. The Nagar Seth, the city banker in ancient India, was a venerable institution having decisive role in the king's court. Our freedom struggle had the house of Birlas and the Bajajes bankrolling the Congress party. During the First World War, J.P. Morgan lent huge sums of money to the Allied powers. The Rockefellers poured money into the League of Nations. George Soros underwrote civil society reform in Eastern Europe post the breakup of the USSR. And Soros continues to tinker with governments even now. But that is all like kindergarten stuff by Musk's standards. Literally, at the press of a button, he can make Putin win the war. With another, he can disconnect NASA from its space assets, launching as he is 100% of the space agency's missions through his rockets. And now, with Trump in the White House, he would even decide if those bureaucrats from the Pentagon to the Foggy Bottom even get to keep their jobs. It's a tech bro world. Learn to live with it.